There's no one to blame. We're here now over an hour. You've used the word accountability, but there's no one to blame. And if I don't deliver, well, there's a cost. But it seems like if you don't deliver, if there's an issue, no one is willing to stand up and say we made a mistake. And that I asked in the last session, why didn't you come out and tell the farmers that the issue was with yourself, the issue was with the department, not with the farmers, because that's what was the understanding on the ground, and it never happened. So it's frustrating that there's no culture of accountability. And this word has been bandied around and it's been said several times by yourselves and members here, but accountability means something. And it seems from the department, it means nothing. Nobody is willing to stand up and say, we made a mistake, we underestimated the difficulties, and we failed to communicate that to farmers. It's just not good enough. Do you want to come in on that?
Can I respond? Yeah. And with respect, Deputy, I don't agree. We've been very clear and we have communicated, and I think I said earlier on that we did communicate when we were having issues with the payments. When we moved through into early 2024 and
did you tell them they'd be 2 years waiting for money? Did you tell them that the problem was on your end?
No, we didn't. Hold on a second. If I
But this is the problem, Paul. There's still a lack of accountability and honesty and transparency, because I can tell you that farmers, as of last month, 2-3 months ago, still didn't know where the problem was. So there hasn't been a culture of transparency in relation to this. And even today, we're still not getting the answers. At what stage? You knew about the problems in acres from the end of 2023. Now, look, we all make mistakes.
Deputy,
but at what stage did you issue a statement through the department, through the minister, and say that there are major difficulties with acres, the scale is enormous, and you will be waiting 1 year or 2 years for payment? That didn't happen.
If I could answer fully, then we couldn't say that people would be waiting 1 year or 2 years, because it was not our intention for anybody to be waiting 1 year or 2 years. We were working through the problems as they were presented, and we were trying to get through those problems as quickly as we could. And that's still the work that's going on, and we're pretty much at the end of that process now. We were very clear about the problems at the end of 2023 in relation to the payments, because the numbers, when we saw the numbers that we were going to pay before the end of 2023, we were very clear in communicating that to people. But we couldn't, can I just finish? We couldn't say at that point exactly how long it was going to take to resolve all the issues. So I wasn't going to be...
But who were you clear to? The farmers?
Yeah,
the minister? Who didn't?
We made announcements at the end of 23 and into 2024 in relation to the delays in the payments and the smaller numbers that we were paying.
Did you write to the farmers?
And then we wrote to farmers in early 2024 in the context of preparing the interim payment to those who had not received a payment at the end of 2023. So when we were going out making those interim payments, we explained to every farmer, we wrote to every farmer, I think 3 times if I'm not mistaken, first to tell them about the problems in the payment system, that they were affected by it, that this was the solution that we were proposing. Then we told them in relation to the point in time at which the interim payment was made, and we explained to them what the amount was. We explained also the fact that their acres payment would be calculated in the normal way in due course, and when that was calculated, it may or may not be higher or lower than the 4,000 or 5,000 euro that we gave them in an interim payment. So we were clear to farmers what we were doing, and then when we calculated that payment, and when those payments began then in June, the actual acres payments, we got back to farmers and we told them exactly what the situation in terms of their acres calculation, how that compared to their interim payment, and what situation they were left in there in terms of overpayments or otherwise. So we communicated very extensively with farmers who were affected, and at the same time, we were moving ahead with getting the payments out to those that we could. And we followed on then in terms of calculating the ultimate acres payments that could be offset against those interim payments. So we were very clear, but we couldn't at any point in time say to people, this is going to take another year or 2 years, or this is the point in time at which we were going to finish with the payments. We were very much focused on resolving the issues